Hello and welcome to the Authentic Wednesday podcast. Each week, my guests and I share our vulnerable behind-the-scenes stories of giving ourselves permission to take off our masks, let go of our expectations, and embrace our own path of freedom and authentic connection. I'm your host, Bianca Hughes, a lover of authenticity and a licensed professional counselor in Georgia. Hello and welcome to the Authentic Wednesday podcast. It is your host, Bianca Hughes, and today it is episode 47 of the podcast. I tell you, remembering those numbers and dates are really not my speciality. I know someone's saying, well, why don't you just write it down? I can, but I just don't. So forgive me. That is just part of my imperfections. So today I just want to quickly share you a story. This will be a quick one, but I want to share about traveling and talk about my first experience of traveling alone. And the reason why I really want to share this is I believe it has been, as I've continued to travel and travel alone, it has been one of the things that have helped me to not only connect to my authentic self and who I am, but learn who I am and be okay with that. So I want to talk about when I went to Barcelona. My first trip by myself was to Barcelona, and I was 25 and I was living in London at the time. So that's just a plane ride. I think it's like an hour and a half plane ride from London. And actually, most of my travels, I've been traveling from such a young age. I would normally travel long haul destinations to the Caribbean, to places like India, to America. So this actually was new for me. And I will say, I realized as I was going over the places I've traveled to by myself. And when I say travel, like the whole time I was there by myself, I think I travel shorter destinations. So from here, I have been to like the Dominican Republic, or I've driven to the beach by myself. So they haven't been long haul destinations. I have been on long haul flights by myself, but normally I've met other people there. So this was the first time at 25. And the reason I chose Barcelona was because, in the previous episode, I talked about saving money to come to America or buy a house. And so that was one of the reasons why I chose Barcelona, because it was just cheaper and close by. So I went for a few days, just a long weekend. So it was about 4 or 5 days. And, I'm in the travel industry, so I get a good deal on the flight, get a really nice 5-star hotel for a super cheap deal because I worked with hotels. And for a travel company. So that was great. So I fly out to Barcelona. I'm excited. I'm nervous. But for me, I had read on places I want to go. I knew where I was staying. I knew how I would get there. So when I got to the airport and, I got my transportation to the hotel, that wasn't hard. And I am very lucky and blessed to say I have a great sense of direction and can read maps and can remember. I say that because I know everyone is not the same and directions and stuff can be difficult. And so that was a big thing for me and very helpful, that planning and looking at the map. So I didn't plan the whole trip. And that was one thing I learned, right? I like to see what there is and then decide if I want to go, or I might have a destination that I definitely want to go to this place, or I definitely want to see this place. Barcelona is actually one of my favorite places in Spain. I actually think Spain's a great country. I know a lot of people like Italy, but I actually prefer Spain to Italy. Just a side note. So I get to Barcelona, I get to the hotel, I speak to the concierge, I get information. I always think that's good to speak to the concierge, speak to the locals at the bars and tourists and things like that. But I love speaking to the locals because they know the spots. So I did the touristy things and I was excited. So I did the bus tour, the different bus tours, which was great because that helped me get the layout of the land and the layout of the city and just hear things, and was helpful for me to go and visit the places. So, I wasn't trying to just get on local transport and figure it out. So just doing those things that I felt like made it easier. The weather was great. It wasn't too hot. Barcelona is a very live and fun city. If you haven't been, I definitely highly recommend that. And so those things are what helped me. Now, I know I speak to people and they're like, was you nervous? Was you worried? Was I scared? No, because one of the things, I have been traveling for a long time from a young age. So traveling wasn't, even though this was my first time alone, I feel like Spain is a popular destination for English people. So I think that's another reason why I chose that destination. So anyone thinking about traveling by themselves, I definitely recommend, if you're uncomfortable, try traveling by yourself in America first. If you're in America or in your country, just go to a place that is maybe 3 hours away or a flight away that's in your country, or close by if you're in Europe, just so that you kind of get familiar with that. No, they don't speak English, but I know in Spain, a lot of people can speak English and you can get by. And also my family, they're not a worry family. They travel a lot. So I didn't have that worry about them or if they were worried about if I was safe. Quite frankly, my family were like, she's always traveling. Like, where are you going next? That's helpful, I will say, when you have people that are not worrying about where you are. And so for those people who do have people who worry about where they are, perhaps just tell the people who are not going to worry as much if you can, and make sure you have people that are going to support and encourage you and not kind of discourage you if you want to travel alone. And so, I had a lot of fun going to I was going to say the Alhambra, but the Alhambra is in Madrid. The Las Ramblas is in Barcelona, the Gran Familiar, and just all those great places and shopping. And the shopping is great in Barcelona, by the way. I don't like to shop, but they have great style. So that was fun too. It's right by, the sea. So I got to be by the sea and I love that. You guys have talked about loving water. And so what I loved the most and what it helped me really to see was who I was as a traveler. And I think it's so important that you know who you are as a traveler. So perhaps what to expect and tell your friends, and also the best people for you to travel with, right? So I loved it because I could pick where I wanted to go and I didn't have to discuss with anyone. That's great. Selfish for some, some may think I'm selfish for that, but I think that's important that you go and do the things that you want to do and that fill your cup. If I got tired, I could leave. If I didn't want to go, I could change my mind. I could stay for as long as I want. I could leave whenever I wanted to. And so it just gave me that freedom to help me see that, yes, I like to go to sites, but I don't want to be there all day long. Yes, I like a bus tour, but I don't particularly want to be on a bus tour all day long. It helped me to see things like I like to speak with the locals and hang out with the locals and just do random stuff that are off the beaten path. It helped me to see that I don't like to plan every day. I definitely felt like that was a place where I definitely grew courage just to meet and talk to strangers. I remember going to this restaurant and there was a whole bunch of tourists and locals, and I just sat with people and just talked with them at the table. I think even that time I met some Americans, and you're just hanging out with people and everyone's there for the same thing, just to learn, to grow, and to travel. And so it helped me build my confidence just to meet and talk to people. I think the main thing that I took away from my first trip there, traveling by myself, was just what was important to me as a person and what I need and want when I travel and I visit different destinations. And I think that changes as you grow older, but it also, I think it has some fundamentals to it. Now, I'm a chill traveler. Like, I don't need to go to every single place to see everything and be moving all the time. I am quite happily, easily go and chill and not go anywhere or go to my bed early. I don't want anyone saying, well, you're a party people, why are you not partying? Like, that's not the kind of traveler I am. And I think that really helped me be comfortable with that. I think having that experience and doing what I enjoyed doing versus what I felt like I needed to be doing or should be doing helped me be comfortable to say, this is okay and this fulfills me. I think ultimately what I'm saying is it allowed me to, traveling by myself for the first time, allowed me to learn to follow the beat of my drum and learn myself, to see traveling as a learning experience, growth and reflection. And the other thing is, since doing that, I have just constantly told people how important it is and how refreshing it is and how life-giving it is to travel by yourself. Like, we always talk about authenticity and taking off the mask and it being on a journey here on the podcast, but authenticity is a journey. And if you have not traveled by yourself, I highly recommend it to connect to more of your true authentic self and seeing what you like. And maybe you've traveled with your kids and your family. What is it like to travel without them? Maybe you always go with your friends. What is it like without them? Who are you as a traveler without other people around? You may feel uncomfortable. You may feel really naked, but learn from that. You can grow from that and sink into that. So I really just wanted to share that to encourage you to travel by yourself and find another way to see who you are in another dimension and another experience, and maybe meet a part of you that you never knew was there, or just relive it. So I hope this is really, really helpful for you. And thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Please rate, subscribe, and review, and go tell your friends. Thank you. If you connected with what you just heard, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. You can stay connected by following our Instagram, Authentic Wednesday Podcast, and visiting our website, authenticwednesday.com. Remember, authenticity is a journey, not a destination.